Guys, what's up? Welcome back to Digital Titans. My name is Casey, and we would be talking about a tool which is called Miro, and this is one of the best tools that I have ever used when it comes to sending clients proposals and sending them a one-sheeter. And as the name suggests, this is an online collaborative tool. And if you start looking at what this can do, it can actually work wonders. So before we actually delay things, let me get started by signing up for free, and it doesn't need you to put in a credit card. So let me just sign up using my credentials. It would say this is already registered because I've already registered this using Google sign-in. So let me sign up with Google using my Gmail ID and password. No hassle, no big technicality involved. You just have to, so no confirmation email needed if you're doing it from the Google sign-in. So I'm signing in from my Gmail ID that I use to register for tools. And once I do that, you will see the vast array of solutions this tool provides you with. Primarily, this was supposed to be a whiteboard tool, but then if you start looking at it, it is capable of doing things much more than a whiteboard. So it lets you collaborate with your teams. It lets you do things real time. You can add mind maps. You can do a lot of stuff. So without any delay, let's get started. So this is where it all begins. Now this is for remote meetings and workshops. This is something new, keeping in mind the corona pandemic that they have developed. And you have a lot of features. You have a lot of integrations. Then this is an Airtable integration, and it's capable of much more than what you actually see. Now these are all the boards that I have. These are all templates, and you can always create a plain blank board without anything. You can just look at the options that they have. Now we have apps and integrations. Let me see what all can be integrated using Miro. Now if you start looking at the boards, these are all templates, and I have a few of them created already to send to my clients. Now, having said that, you can invite members. You can start looking at certain APIs, integrations, and you can always upgrade to a pro version. Now, let me see the first board that I have. When I see this, this is something that I've already done before. Now, these are all the different products, and these are all the different integrations that Miro has. You can integrate your HubSpot, Zendesk. You can integrate your Gmail. Now you got to understand this is capable of doing all these things because this is supposed to be a team collaboration software where you can interact with your team, chat with your team, and in fact you can also have video calls with your team. You can design certain workflows. You can start looking at integrating platforms like Google Images, Unsplash. Rather than having to navigate out of this platform to look for images, you can always integrate these and get at the utmost capability when you want to send proposals to your clients or to plan a strategy, collaborate with your team, etc. Now they also have an academy. You can also look at that and get a basic understanding. Now this is my first board. This is a one-sheeter that I sent my client who is a catering business about what a tentative strategy should look like for their business after, of course, I've done my research. If you start looking at this whiteboard, you can close this. All right. Now you can scroll, zoom in and zoom out with the scroll option on your mouse. Or you can just double tap and then use your fingers if you're using to drag and drop if you're doing it using a trackpad. Now you can have these different elements like boxes, shapes. This is a presentation mode. Let me show you how it looks like when you're presenting it to your team on a call or on a conference. Now you can always zoom in and zoom out, as I've already said. You can edit things and you can color code things. You can zoom out, and you can actually link workflows. You can add comments. You can have a chat. You can also have a video chat. You can share your screen. Now let's look at the screen sharing options. There you see a lot of other options just opened up. Let me see if I'm missing out anything on the screen. All right, so zoom in, zoom out. All right. You have comments, the ability to add comments so that your fellow teammates can understand. You can drag drop things. You also see how the arrow moves along with this. Now let me start showing things from scratch. Now let me see. Now these are all the available other functions that you've already seen in the integrations. You have mind maps. You have a screen capture. You don't have to go to another application to you can move around things. Basically, this is to understand different businesses at whatever stage your business may be. You can use this functionality to come up with a whiteboard, to come up with a one-sheeter, to come up with a plan, strategy, whatever you call it. And you can always export it once it's done so that you can share it with your clients, and you can also share it with your fellow team members. Now, notes section is where you can add notes. You can share it obviously with your team. Now, what else is it capable of? Let's go back to the main, the home page. Let me see. Let me also open up the whiteboard feature. The whiteboard feature basically is what we have seen now. So it's not very different from what we have. Whiteboard is nothing but a blank canvas where you can start putting in different elements together. It would look like this. Now, if you see that they already have a wide range of clients that they work with, like Netflix, etc. Now, you can collaborate, you can do everything to make you more productive. And infinite canvas is something that I would want to talk about. Now, a lot of times, keeping in mind the layout about how it looks when you send it to the clients, you will have to rearrange things, squeeze them in so that they fit into a one-sheeter. But this is like an infinite canvas, which means that there is no end. It can go on, and then you can zoom in and export it as a PNG or a PDF at the end of the day. Now, two other features which I really like are the ones that the templates that they have for building a strategy. It's something that I really like, and they also have something called as sticky notes this is exactly what you see on the screen now. Those boxes that you see are sticky notes that can have some sort of notes, like how you would stick them on your wall, so that you don't miss out on the most important things. Now, they also have an app. You can go to your Play Store or the App Store and then download it. Now, it's so easy because it just looks like having a post-it note on your wall, like a physical post-it, but then it's the digital version of it. So I really like this feature. All right, 50 plus templates, infinite canvas, integration rich. You have seen the wide range of integrations that Miro is allowing you to do. And then this is the online whiteboard, which we have just looked at, where you can have a lot of blocks of text, you can have shapes, you can have a lot of functionality, which... Now, there's another thing, right? So no matter how much I talk about this, it's always different until you do these things and get these things done yourself. So I strongly urge you to either do things simultaneously when you're watching this video by registering for Miro, or you can just watch this video and then start doing things by yourself, because that's when you get the most value out of such videos or such tutorials. Alright, so these are all the boards, and you have different boards for different purposes. It could be from a product launch to a training session, to a team collaboration, or a team huddle that you would want to, or a team stand-up call that you would want to get done. You can basically choose whatever you want based upon the wide range of templates that they have. Or if you want to start from scratch, you can always do that, as you have already seen. So there is nothing that's stopping you from doing that if you wanted. Right, now these are all the different categories. Now your strategy, research, brainstorming, mapping, and diagrams that you can come up with, workshops and integration. Now this is where my area lies in, because I really want to look at using this platform as a strong resource or strong tool when making my training videos, because that's where a lot of value can be extracted, keeping in mind my business. But if your business deals with programming or building platforms, or you want to establish certain workflows or prototypes in place, you can always choose what fits best for your business and then take a decision accordingly. So as I said, my primary area of interest would be, this is just to showcase what are all the different platforms, templates available. Now let's choose workshops and facilitation, because that's where my my business falls in. That's what I'd be more interested. And in the meantime, if you want all templates, you can always choose the all templates option, mind maps and workshops and facilitation. Now let's pick up something from this. Probably, yeah. All right. So let's add this. Right. Now you see a lot of text around the mind map that we have chosen. Right. Now imagine. Let me give you a situation. Now imagine I'm talking about something called as, what is it that I would want to focus at the moment? So if I want to start explaining about marketing automation to somebody in my team or whether it's my client. Now let me put in a workflow for that so that it gets easy. I can stay more productive. I can stay more focused in getting what I want. So where do I start with marketing automation is the root that I would start with. Now from there I will start classifying them into different things like whether I want to automate chat or whether I would want to automate customer service as such. That's one broad element. Then I would start automating my email campaigns or email cold emails or incoming emails or email workflows. So I would want to automate that. And then I would also start automating a feature if there is a new release that's coming out, and then I would want to automate that process of sending that to my existing customer base. Now, as you see, you can also color code your arrows so that it gives you you can classify them based upon different elements so that you will know what path to follow or what is a workflow when it comes to product launches, for example. So if I maintain a different color code for that, it's easy for me to understand that. Now let me change this to another color, just to tell you, show you the importance of how this visualization can really help you stay on course and not to get distracted. Now, okay, this is something that I would want to change it to. All right, so let's change it to that. All right. Now, this is all the first level of brainstorming where I would want to automate these three things. Now, when it comes to automating chat or automating customer service, what is it that I'm looking at? I'm looking at creating a chatbot. So let me give a different color to that. All right, let me see. Or let me actually change the entire automating chat. Let me give a different color to that so that tomorrow if I'm back at it, if I only follow the blue line or the blue arrow, I would be talking about automating chat. So it's easy for my team to understand that. So create a chatbot. Now, how do I create a chatbot? Whether I would want to focus on a single platform or do I want to focus on creating a chatbot as such on platforms? I can put in whatever my plan is here. So let me put in incoming bot conversation. So if there is any conversation that's an incoming from my promotions, whether it's an email promotion or PPC ads or whatever, if those incoming chats come in, now I would want to automate that because that's what takes me a lot of time. For example, I would also focus on something called as chat blast. So that is one path. The second thing is when it comes to automating email workforce, should I focus on cold emails? Should I focus on, if there is a lot of time you would need to follow up, and follow-ups are where the money is. So if I want to automate that process, probably I would start looking at following up with my email, automating my follow-up emails. Now, new releases, I can start planning new campaigns. Let me give this a new color. Let me give green. All right. Let me extend this. You can just do a tab on your keyboard. And do you see how without having to change the color, it is following the same green path? So whatever you add onto this path, it will automatically assume the color green. Alright, so new release emails. If there's a new release, I would want to send out a chat blast saying that this is my new release. Let me put in something else just to incoming leads. If there are any incoming leads for my new releases. Now, if there's an incoming lead here, you would want to understand that it has to be linked to my chatbot flow because it deals with automating that process as such. Now, do you see how I started with automating the new release of my product? Now that would get in touch with my chatbot module, where it would start automating those chats from there. So ideally, I would want to link this section to my chatbot, right? So let me show you how easy it is. Now, follow-up emails is something that I have already mentioned. Yes, I have mentioned that. If I would want to link that to my incoming leads, I can simply drag and drop an arrow, and then it is easy to understand now, isn't it? Rather than me sending you things, a lot of stuff, or emails or videos all the time, it may not be always feasible. But if somebody looks at this workflow, now follow-up email will be a part of the incoming lead. So once you have these incoming leads coming in, now from there you should start looking at following up with the email. So that's the next step. Now similarly, I can link different sections within my worksheet here. Now let me zoom out. All right. So if I ever want to, what do you say, uh, point people or point my team, what should they do at any stage? I can always add notes. I can add mention people, right? I can add the username so that it automatically sends them an email or an alert, right? So you can always drag and drop. You can add a lot of text here saying or explaining things about whatever you would want your team to understand. Now, this is a history of all the activity that's done, about who edited what at what time, and what is the element that they have fiddled with. Now, that is something you can understand from that. And what else? So we would still have to look at another element, which is how do I link so if you look at this screen now, the stickers are like these. You can always add those stickers onto your existing workflow. That's very easy to do if you start looking at your main sheet that you're looking at, which is the first board that we spoke about. There may be other services or elements that you would want to add. I think most of them are a part of the Pro account. Now, where are we at? Now, this is the first board that I've created. You can start this. You can export this, as I've already told you. Right. So let's go back to the one that we were creating, which is this. Now, here is where I would want to link my existing. I would want to show how you can go back to where it all started. Now, where do I start marketing automation is the root, right? So that's where it all began. That's where the whole conversation started. Now, at any point in time, if I get stuck, assume that I would want people to go back to where they started from. I can always link the first root back, right? So let me say, okay, let me move this around a little. Let me unpin the map. I don't want this. Now, this is only to understand, because this is an infinite canvas, right? So if you want to look at where you are, you can use this map. Right now, I don't need it. So let me ignore that, right? Okay. All right. Now, new release chat blast is something which is all right. So I can copy or links, add comments here. I can start looking at the info, which is who has created this and what time they've created this. If you start looking at the other options, you always get these options of copying these links, which means you can link one element to another element. So if I want to link this incoming leads, or let's start linking this. So when we talk about incoming leads, I would want to link this at another place to Chat Blast, for example. I can always paste that there. So let me show you how that's done. So new release Chat Blast is where I'm at. So let me see, not this one. So let me see if I can come here, copy this link, or you can always duplicate. These are all the different options that you have. Now I would want to link this to another element. So let's say you can either paste it. I have copied it already, so I'm pasting that link here. So which is a particular element. So confirm, right? So you see the small arrow on the pointing to the right. So this is the link. So when you click on this, you will go back to where you linked it to, right? You can just say go to the chat blast element. So you can leave that as a note. When people click on this, they will go back to this chat blast element because that's where you linked it. Do you see how it came here? Now from here, if I want to link it to another element, saying, let's say, take me back. Now I would want to go back to my original root, which is, you can always link it to the element. So let's say link to, and I would want to mention just the element where it all started. So let me put in what was the root, where do I start the marketing automation, right? So I click on this, it automatically gets populated. Now when people click on that take me back element with the arrow, they come back to let me do that. All right, so you came here, right? So let me correct the spelling. There's a typo. All right. So this is how you interlink your elements from one element to another element in the same sheet. You can lock sheets. You can lock elements so that nobody else changes. You can give permissions to your team. You can mention your team members. So basically, this solves the purpose twofold. One is it serves as a perfect example of a perfect whiteboard when it comes to making training videos or your product launch videos. And second, it gives you the incredible power to collaborate it with your team members. Thank you so much. This is Casey. Cheers.